Even Crowder, black fatigue is real, and I told them why. Black and white on the gray issues. Let's see.
Have you guys heard of the term black fatigue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys know what that means?
Since the last time you came, that's become a thing.
Yeah, I was about to say that's just become a recent thing.
And do you know what it means?
No, I'm not sure.
Let's see what it means.
It's
white people are 12 times as likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
he's oh boy. So he's saying, oh boy, 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person. Who's 12 times more likely to shoot up a school though? And what them victims being though? What type of school it is predominantly, huh?
12 times as likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
Across the country.
Ain't nobody coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody.
And I've seen plenty of other creators come with the statistic that show that that's not true, and that black people mainly commit crimes within each other, not so much to other people,
tripping on you and but these people in just as scared as the other folks that
they are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness,
So this white man is claiming because he's black. Oh my God, no, yeah, I agree. Dude was definitely crazy. It had nothing to do with because she was white and he was black. He did say, "I got the white girl," though, but that's not true. That's just not true for black people, bro.
Man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness, it's a problem. So white America.
So it spends several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
Where's the bird?
No.
Where's the bird? You're not stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The bird just burned down $4 billion worth of cities and 60,000 assaults.
No.
There's 3 times to 4 times as much homework than the black kid, and the white kid does 2 to 3. Why?
Because it's culturally, it's conditioned.
Exactly.
So why is it better parenting from Asians than white parents? Why?
You said what?
We're always having real talk. Why do young black men fight in packs? So a couple of years ago when I started...
So it's like they're playing victim to black people.
Black and white on the gray issues, I sensed some growing discontent, or more of a racial divide in America than I'd experienced in my lifetime, and it seemed to be egged on by legacy media.
It's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
The American people have felt safe in their home.
People who had absolutely no chance of victory.
And racism towards black and brown people.
And as that evolved, and for the first time I walked into Stevie J's barbershop, I really was looking to sit down and talk with, but mainly listen to real black Americans living the real American black experience to see whether they shared the viewpoints of a lot of the public representatives, the now networkless Joy Reids of the world, or back then the Don Lemons, what they wanted me to believe.
I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit.
And overall, it was a largely warm, productive conversation. I think served its purpose. You can go check out that video to see what it was like. Fast forward to now, and not only have things not really improved.
Oh, because the white people started it, huh? Swung first. Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. I'm not. Oh my goodness, this dude worse than Charlie Kirk.
And according to many Americans, they're markedly worse. And if listening is important, I noticed that a lot of white Americans felt pushed to a point that they weren't even...
So this man is pushing the whole anti-black thing on his channel.
...fully comfortable expressing. But for the most part, when they did, their communication was pretty restrained. And then it was dialed up to near boiling point with the recent cold-blooded murder of Irina Zarutska.
The unthinkable happens. You see Brown pull out what officials say was a pocket knife. He unfolds it, then stands up behind Zarutska. What we aren't showing you is the moment where Brown then stabs Zarutska several times and walks away.
And that murder taking place
You
at
know
the
what's crazy? This same type of incident happened in Tulsa, where a white man done it. So they never released the victim, or they never released the footage, and then they never released the identity of the victim either. So we don't know if the person was white or black. Same type of incident happened in Tulsa. I reacted to the video. They ain't gonna talk about that though. They're gonna make it a race thing.
hands of a black man who was arrested at least 14 times and released largely in the name of racial justice, spurred a reaction from white Americans that frankly is unsurprising. And truth be told, for young white Americans is understandable, and it would be doing America no favors to completely ignore the discontent of young white Americans who, if you listen to them, definitely will make the case that they have been vilified and asked to foot the bill for original sin or crimes that they've never committed.
They owe each of us $300K. So I don't care how to get the money. That's not my problem. I just want my money. A debt is owed. You owe it. You owe a debt. You have to pay.
And if you marginalize that entire segment, that voice of the country, that will lead to quote-unquote radicalization. And if this country wants to avoid that, or at the very least, as we've done in the past,
Charlie
country
Kirk, white
wants to
supremacist.
avoid that, or at the very least, as we radicalization.
White supremacist dead at 31. Charlie Kirk. So this man is proving the black fatigue stereotype.
And if this country wants to avoid that,
There's real racial tension right now going on, at least on the internet, bro. You know what I'm saying? This shit has 1 million views, 1.4 in 3 days, and all these comments is white people. Crazy, coach.
at the very least, as we've done in the past, understand that there needs to be a major course correction in the approach to communication. That needs to go both ways. And that's why this time, I didn't visit the barbershop merely to listen, but to communicate a very real set of grievances that could bubble into massive consequences. This one goes a little bit of a different direction compared to
Bro,
last.
what about the white accountability though that got black people in this position to where you even view black people this way though? Where's that accountability at though? You know what I'm saying? That got you got to take accountability for history, bro, because that's what eventually shaped today. You know what I'm saying?
This is Black and White on The Gray Issue.
And that's Stevie right there, the blue shirt.
Blue shirt. Oh,
Yes,
Steven.
sir.
I met Cedric. I think I scared him. I think he was.
How you doing, man?
Hey,
Doing all right?
Yeah, man. How you doing? Good to see you. I need it. You guys all have your beards nice and right. I've never learned how to do this shit.
It's because people come here. Yeah.
Oh, I see what it is. It's a power move. You have me sitting lower.
Yeah, so we can all look down on you.
No, thanks. Well, they said you guys got some people coming in here after the last one.
Yeah, a couple people came
They just
through.
felt like, I think this is the place where white and black people have conversations.
So it was funny. The first person that came last time was he said this out his own mouth. He was like, I'm Indian, but he had on a MAGA hat. Okay. And he walked in and was like, hey, I saw you guys on Crowder. Can I get a cut here? Yeah, I guess so, man. Come on.
Did you have your hand on your piece? You're like, I don't know. If you come.
Nah, because he didn't come like that. He didn't have the backpack and the ski mask on. Yeah, he didn't have that on.
Was he nice? Was he good?
It's cool.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, like, when you see someone with a MAGA hat? Because I know we were kind of talking about that last time.
It depends on how they present themselves. To me.
Yeah.
For me.
Well,
They
okay, so
usually
what would present
themselves
themselves in a way that
one
would be
way.
like decent versus piece of shit?
Yeah, some people carry that air of superiority.
Yeah.
And if you present that to me, I'm very conscious of that. If you present that to me, I'm gonna respond appropriately.
Yeah.
That's just me personally.
What would be like an air of superiority? Like,
just like certain things you say in conversation, and and like you said, just in the physical nature of these chairs. Well, in conversation, you can physically go up and down and put yourself above or beneath. So when people do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually, when I do the change my minds and sit with people, I actually kind of slump my shoulders and deliberately kind of make myself smaller, just to not, it's like, what is it, the crab that has the red under its claws is showing danger? So I don't wear red, because apparently that signifies poison. But yeah, no, there's all these body language experts now, you watching TV, and I'm like, this seems like horse shit. Like, he looks to the left so you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, some of it is horse.
It's like, I saw him on camera, he killed his girlfriend with a butter dish. I don't give a shit what he says.
He took too long to say that.
So my boy is basically saying he's reading body language and energy, and then white man is saying that shit's not real. What do you think of somebody? It just depends on their energy.
Saw him on camera, he killed his girlfriend with a butter dish. I don't give a shit what he said. Yeah, you watching TV, and I'm like, this seems like horse shit. After his claws is showing danger. So I don't wear red, because apparently that signifies poison. But yeah, no, there's all these body language experts now, you watching TV, and I'm like, this seems like horse shit. Like, he looks to the left so you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, some of it is horse.
It's like, I saw him on camera, he killed his girlfriend with a butter dish. I don't give a shit what he says.
He took too long to say that answer. He had to think about it. No, he's thinking about what he wants to say.
Yeah.
He don't just spit shit out. He wants to think about what he's saying.
Last time we talked, we were kind of just, and the reason was just like, often you see in news, people just kind of siphon themselves off right into an echo chamber. And I thought it was good. We were just kind of able to see other perspectives. Where do you think the country is now? Like, with that? Like,
is that an open question? Or?
Yeah, race relations between, because last time I wanted to get your perspective, and there's a perspective now in the white community. None of us are an ambassador for the entire community, but things have changed quite a bit the last year and a half. Temperatures have gone up. But what do you guys think? What do you think we are in the country?
I'd like to chime in on that.
Yeah.
I'm happy you asked that question. There are a lot of social and economic dynamics at play that have certainly gone, in my opinion, in the wrong direction. I don't think that people really understand the gravity of where we're headed. We are vastly sliding into an autocratic regime here. And absolutely, I'll give you several reasons. You see, in order to have, you can't have a one-dimensional approach when you're wanting to continue to lead from a global perspective, all right? What you see here today is an isolationism approach which has never worked in the past because we don't have an understanding of geography and history, all right? And I'll just simply close by saying, you got to understand something. The rest of the world is grossly infuriated with the way America has taken shape. And not only that, we're ceding all our best opportunities to China, right? Look around you in the relationships they're fostering with everybody else, which includes Canada, Mexico, and they've even gone as far down into the Latin American corridor, fortifying their bases while we're still hollering that we're the greatest.
You talking about China, like in the Panama Canal?
Not just the Panama Canal. Let's pivot from the Panama Canal and let's look at the long-term strategy they have now, where they just signed an agreement with Mexico to build another canal bypassing the Panama Canal. And when you look at the whole transatlantic corridor, where you got now Brazil and Canada as well as Mexico trading, and they're stopping in Peru, where China has a huge presence at, circumventing completely the navigation, the use that comes with having to use the Panama Canal. So we'll avoid conflict with America and just simply go around America is what's happening here.
Talking about China?
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to agree with the first part, autocratic. I think China needs to be dealt with, and this is the first time we are. I'm Canadian. Well, I was raised in Canada. Canada sucks. Canada is a dog shit country. Canada, the kind of shit we're doing, you can't do this in Canada. If you say something too offensive or I say something too offensive, you will be jailed in Canada.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I'm fine with the U.S. being the best country. I came here from Canada because, I had friends who were arrested. I had a friend, stand-up comic, was fined for telling a joke. I don't think people realize how good we have it here in this country compared to other countries.
That's the painstaking part about it all is the fact that, I've always been one to say, and I believe this firmly, freedom is not a right. It's a privilege until you wake up the next morning and find out you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. It also comes with duties.
That's what I was about to say. It also comes with responsibilities because while we free to speak and say what we want, and I went to Montreal a few months ago, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bet you saw a lot of tips
that
on
come
signs.
with the words.
That's all it is.
No, I didn't.
It's just strip clubs. Our Times Square is a giant strip club.
It was a couple of them.
Yeah.
But no, like there is responsibility and like everybody's from different places, different backgrounds. Some of us from certain backgrounds know like running your mouth too much in a certain space can get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Like you free to say what you want, you're just not free from the consequences. Like the consequences that come with you saying the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that's where we all have responsibilities in what we say and when we say it.
Yeah. The problem, though, too, and I was kind of talking more domestically, the problem with that idea is a lot of people are offended by different things. Mm-hmm. And so people get their ass whooped for something they didn't say, right? That's the real thing. I don't know if you guys were following the stabbing there on that train in Charlotte, Irina Zarutska. Last time I was asking where you guys thought we were, as far as in the country relation. Like, have you guys heard of the term black fatigue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys know what that means?
Since the last time you came, that's become a thing.
Yeah, I was about to say that's just become a recent thing.
And do you know what it means?
No, I'm not sure.
I'm going to ask that.
It's a term that's being used by people in the white community, by and large, again, saying they feel like they've been victimized and they're tired of taking that shit. That was a girl who was dying alone in public. And that was a guy who was let out 14 times. 14 times, including violent crimes in the name of racial.
Hold on. We at 12:32. Let me back up some. So,
as a lot of people are offended by different things. Mm-hmm. And so
it can get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Like, you free to say what you want, you're just not free from the consequences. Like, the consequences that come with you saying the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that's where
we went from freedom of speech turning into...
We all have responsibilities in what we say and when we say it.
Yeah. The problem, the times. 14 times, including violent crimes in the name of racial justice, right? He didn't have to post bail. He didn't have to appear back in court. This is not the first time he's assaulted someone.
How do we know that was in the interest of racial justice as opposed to just being
because the judge said it.
A fucked up attempt at justice, period.
Yeah.
Like, the legal system has its flaws.
Yeah.
And people have been making complaints about that for decades, right? But that's just, to me, that's a mental health thing more than it's a black and white thing.
Well, I'll tell you why, because white people are saying it now.
Right.
Not just white people are saying, hey, we're in
makes it a bigger thing.
Well, because, white people are 12 times as likely to be killed by a black person any other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
Across the country.
Where? Not in...
White people are more likely to get killed by a black person than a black person be killed by a white person. That's what he said. And so this is where the term black fatigue is coming from. My problem with the term black fatigue is, bro, that's not what it means, man. Black fatigue means to originally be tired of white people. Black people are tired of white people. The systemic oppression and racism and whatnot. And y'all taking this term, and so now y'all want to say this is how black people are. Black people are attacking white people and making them victims. And what did y'all do to black people throughout all of history, though? On a large, massive scale. And at the end of it all black people did was ask for equality and are still asking for equality, though. So that doesn't justify the actions, but man, y'all show is crying like a little bitch right now. Let's just keep it G, man. That stuff on that train does not determine There's not it's not black people, bro. Black people is not just doing. Black people still crying for equality, still crying racism. I say black people need to fucking build their own shit like we should have been done when slavery originally ended and we had that 3-year stretch, but we couldn't do nothing, so we joined them. We couldn't beat them, so we joined them. I understand. That's why we're at where we're at now, and that's why I go back to the accountability for white people, bro. Because the government wants us to be equal. They want us to be equal, man. We over here crying for equality. That's they want us to cry for that. You know?
The United States. I mean, we're not talking about Ghana.
And like,
yeah.
What I'm saying is, in white communities or in quote unquote so-called white communities
across the country, the rate is a black man or person, because most murder is men. There are very few female murders. 12 times more likely to kill a white person the other way around. And then you look at the average amount of times that someone in this country is arrested before they're brought in for killing, charged with murder. Do you know how many times they're arrested on average before they murder? 11 times.
Once again, the justice system's got its flaws, and people have been complaining about that for years. We spend more time trying to fix that than trying to complain about the white versus black of it all.
Well, I think, just like I was trying to listen to all communities last time, I think this is something that's unavoidable. If this community, if enough white people get pissed off, they're going.
Look at how black people got in this situation, though. If that's true, how did black people end up in this situation? And what are you, as the white man, going to do to help them get out of that situation, since you want to be a victim so bad? I don't get it.
Last time, I think this is something that's unavoidable. If this community, if enough white people get pissed off, they're going, look, we're living in New York now, we're getting killed in record numbers, or Detroit, 12 times the rate.
Oh, y'all are going to start terrorizing and getting your get back, huh?
And our system, 3 strikes in California, right? That was a 3-strike policy. The reason that was changed, they said it was racist. Crime went down in black communities 30%. But now people are looking at their cities going, this is a fucking hellscape. And the murder is skyrocketed because people said in the name of racial justice, like 3 felonies, you're out.
Because crime is crime, right? But crime is usually going to be higher concentrated in areas where there's high poverty. So typically the areas that's high poverty in this country are areas with people with this color skin. So that's why you're going to have that. That's why I said those numbers could be skewed and made to manipulate to look like, oh yeah, that's why I said in
not at 12 times the rate.
In suburban neighborhoods, white people are not in danger, and that's what this kind of fear mongering tells them, is that you're in danger because you're 12 times more likely to get killed by a black person. You live in ain't nobody coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody tripping on you. But these people are just as scared as them other folks.
They are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
That man was mentally insane.
But why was he back in
family members? He had his own family members call the hospital to try to get him committed. He told his sister he killed that woman because he thought she was trying to read his mind.
Yep. Why was he let out, though? And I'm not saying it's because he's black.
Yeah,
I'm saying people look at it, though. The judge said.
And he said, yeah, so he agreed.
Black fatigue.
He's insane, right? We agree.
That's not a black and white issue.
He was deemed not fit to stand trial, right?
Right.
Now
should have been institutionalized.
Right. The IOU policy, meaning you don't have to pay bail. You don't even have to stay here until you're actually convicted. You just say you'll come back.
Right, which is messed up.
Yeah, the judge, Teresa Stokes, black woman, said, well, this is about racial justice. We need to be softer on crime. So that's her reasoning. That's why he was out. And you can find dozens of examples.
That's her misguided reasoning.
And that's policy.
But that's systemic, though, right?
That's not representative of a whole.
It's not. It's not. No, and look, we always have to say not all. Right. Like, not all white people wear MAGA hats and are dumbass pieces of racist shit. But we have all been accused of racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia. What I'm saying is black fatigue is white people going, you know what? I know I'm not racist. And I know that we're dealing with record crime, and I know that I'm more at risk. And they have negative interactions, and they're constantly told that they're not allowed to voice their fucking opinion because they're white. And if those people get pissed off, like that's where we actually could end up with some kind of, I'm telling you, I see this brewing. I see people who were milquetoast white suburban,
who are becoming actually racist. Now, not all of them, but I've seen people actually become racist.
They're becoming racist because of what they see.
Because they get mugged, their store gets looted, and nothing gets done. They're going, and if I say something, it's turned into a race thing. I'm telling you what, that's where it's coming from. At what point do we have a talk and go like, okay, let's reform justice, but we have to be honest as to why it was reformed in the first place.
So white people enslave you. You're now a free man with no rights for 3 years. Now you become a U.S. citizen because we're not gonna allow you to build your own community. Now you're discriminated. Whole time we give you no resources, we help you in whatsoever. As you're discriminated, we're still gonna do race riots. We're still gonna do race riots in 1921. Then after we destroy your community, as we're discriminated, right? We'll indoctrinate you into our system where we now have full control, and you no longer have your own schools, you no longer have your own hospitals and all this, that, and the third. You no longer have that. You're indoctrinated into our system. So now you are equal. You are equal. And that made put white people in the same boat. So whole time you get no help, right? You get to go to our schools now. Whole time you get no resources. You're still out here struggling though. It's not like, oh, we're equal and we get the same. We're just doing so much better in life now. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. And you got to think, when did segregation end? Like 1960, 50? Come on now. That's not even 100 years, bro. And then fast forward, you look at where Black Wall Street, y'all destroyed that, right? Was just 100 years ago. And fast forward, you look at crime. You look at who's breaking into your stores, if that's the case, right? You say this is where black fatigue is coming from. Look at what you create. You created this. You literally created this, and then you're crying black fatigue. Do something about the problem that you created, though. You know what I'm saying? Is that not a valid opinion? Is that not a valid take? Okay, at least acknowledge that, okay, this is the reason why black people are even in this position. You know?
This guy, it's not even the only one. It's every 3 days someone's being offed.
Yeah, but at the same time, let's transfer that over to, there's a lot of unsafe...
That doesn't justify black people killing white people or none of that, bro. But you're talking about black fatigue, this man on the train, this, that, and the third, that's not a representation of black people at all, bro. No. If anything, that's what black people need to be fucking doing. And look at y'all crying and look. If niggas ever did y'all how y'all did look at y'all crying black fatigue, bro. Boy, this is what niggas should be fucking doing if you want to be real. Not justifying it. But you want to be honest. We got all this black on black crime out here. All these rappers smoking dead niggas, and this what niggas ought to be doing. If anything. Instead of killing each other. You don't like to hear it. No one does. It's fucked up to say, yeah, I guess. Let's be real though, man.
Things in this world. Like getting mugged by a black person is not the paramount unsafe thing. there's school shootings, there's road rage, there's all of that shit.
Yep.
And the primary people that commit a lot of those are people who don't have this skin.
No.
So if switch it over, if black people say, well, we getting fed up and we tired of all these school shootings and all of these road rage and all that, who do we say something to? Who hears our voice?
And when does the white fatigue kick in?
And when does the white fatigue kick in?
Well, we've been hearing about
us?
that's the point, right? We've been hearing about it all our lives, about white fatigue, about systemic discrimination.
But nothing's
I'm
ever
Canadian,
been
right?
done. That's the problem.
It
It's
has
still
been done.
here.
It's
That's why-
actually called black fatigue, bro. This is how stupid people are, bro. They didn't even take the time to even Google. Let's just do one Google search. What does black fatigue mean? Black fatigue is the exhaustion and chronic stress black people experience navigating daily systemic racism, microaggression, and implicit biases, often leading to psychological, physiology, health issues. So, you could say the black man on the train had black fatigue. In his mentally insane mind, because you see it's physiology and psychology health issues is what you get from black fatigue. So you can argue that man had black fatigue. Look, and here goes an article. Black fatigue now has a double meaning. All you gotta do is a simple Google search.
We've done systemic justice reform that has led to more crime, right? That's the reason for no three-strike policy. That's the reason for cashless bail. That's the reason for catch and release. The reason for it, in the wake of Black Lives Matter, George Floyd riots, Summer of Love, was we're going to reform crime, we're going to reform the justice system.
So my niggas said they got rid of the 3-strike thing in favor of black people. Because they was locking black folks up left and right and hitting their ass with felonies, nigga. It giving niggas 3 strikes, nigga. That's what cause you know black people the most ones getting arrested. And what that boy Antonio Speaks be saying? 50%, they 50% arrested and 50% exonerated.
Matter, George Floyd riots, Summer of Love was we're going to reform crime, we're going to reform the justice system, and it's gotten worse everywhere it's been. And then when white people leave those neighborhoods, well, now it's white flight. If they come in, it's gentrification. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who are pissed off, and they're not going to sit down and have this conversation and be real about it. And they're going, well, what happens when someone has to keep their mouth shut about everything?
Nobody tell you have to keep
That's how they feel. That's how they feel.
I don't believe white people have to keep their mouth shut. I think white people don't speak up about a lot of the things that they do and they perpetuate that affects us negatively. That's the stuff that nobody wants to. That the issues aren't made about those things. You know. I really respect the platform that you have because you do have open and honest conversations. And I have to say, I don't believe that those numbers about the black people murdering white people are correct. I don't believe those numbers are correct.
What if they are? What if I'm not lying to you?
If you're not, then I've been misled and I've been isolated from realistic numbers. But
Let's look.
I know in this country, from the time that we got here and until now, there's never been hordes of black people that just go out and maraud and menace white people. Interactions happen and things do occur. I'm not saying that they don't, but not by and large in number. We can't be this small a percentage of the overall population and still have the numbers that people try to perpetuate on to us. See, black people do more harm to other black people than we do to other white people.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Facts. Oh, but that's true, huh? But that's true. Huh? Data does not support the claim that black people are 12 times more likely to kill a white person than the other way around. This statement misrepresents official FBI homicide statistics by ignoring key context, particularly that most homicides are interracial. Most homicides are interracial. Data consistently shows that the majority of homicides are committed by offenders of the same race as their victims. For example, in 2019, 81% of white victims were killed by white offenders, and 91% of black victims were killed by black offenders. And that would make a lot of sense, bro. That would make a lot of sense. Black on white versus white on black homicides in 2019. Data showed that homicides with white victims and black offenders were 2 times more common than the reverse. Let's read that again. FBI data showed that homicides with white victims and black offenders were 2 times more common than the reverse. So it's 2 times, not 12 times. Black on black homicide rate. A 2024 analysis of homicide victimization found that in 2020, black Americans were 9.3 times as likely as white people to be homicide victims. 9 times as likely. What is that? What is it? Really? As likely. I don't think I understand. Black homicide offender rate. Statistics from 1976 to 2005 showed that the rate of black homicide offending was more than 7 times higher than the rate for white people in 2020. Black adults were 6 times more likely to be arrested for homicide than white adults. I mean, is that per capita? I mean, I don't know. But we could assume that, like, even if black people are committing the most murders, right? Data shows that 91% is black on black. You know, and 81% is white on white. You know, that's 10% less, you know. But that's still high. It's not like it's majority black killing whites. Like, no. No.
You know, because people who are close. And we also have historical evidence of groups of white people attacking and chasing black people.
So it's
coming after.
So
like,
when people
we have
say
historical
it's not
evidence
happening now.
So
I'm just saying,
and that's the point. We're at a precipice
yes,
right
it is. What about dude that was riding his bike, right? Got jumped by some white boys. Went back home, grabbed his gun, got his ass beat again. Still didn't shoot their ass until they kept beating his ass. And he had no option but to finally shoot their ass, and then he still ended up getting charged. What about that, huh? That wasn't too long ago.
So
like,
when people say
it's not happening now.
So when
I'm just saying,
and that's the point. Is we're at a precipice right now.
That's a part of the historical condition.
Well, sure, but someone today.
Hold on. I wasn't finished making my point. I wasn't finished making my point. You know, when like I said, black fatigue, that's the newest mantra that's been put out into society to make people think that, okay, they tired of black people. They tired of what you said, that we can't say anything about black people. We can't do. Well, when you hold all the power, when you hold all the economic rights, when you hold all the things that make this country move, when you're in charge of those things.
Just think about this, right? I think it was like 3 years before slavery ended. White people got the Homestead Act, which gave them 140 acres to move out west. Right before slavery ended. And black people couldn't get a motherfucking thing, bro. All this shit, where is the accountability, man? And then they still, they want to cry, they want to be the victim. And never help you. Still not help you. Come out with a better school curriculum, because apparently we're equal to you and we're still doing bad. I look around at white people, it's white people out here doing just as bad, if not worse, actually. It's a lot of people, white folks, doing worse than black folks out here. Especially depending on where you're at. I'm from Oklahoma, so yeah, let that sink in.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? I put it like
this motherfucker.
Black people, white people got the firecrackers. We got the stem. That's it. Y'all got the power. The power is placed outside of the black community. We're charged with all the negative things. Those are the things that are really generally coincide with how people relate to us. The bad stuff that's go wrong with this world is the black people's fault. We the smallest part of this country. Remember that. You know what I'm saying? Beside the immigrants that come here. we have been tasked with the negative, the criminal, the immoral. That's us. And
right, paint you as
that's what we
criminals.
consider- that's white
You come
fatigue,
out of
but you know what
slavery
we
with
do?
nothing, and we still you're discriminated but equal to us type shit. Ugh. But you're the criminals. What the fuck else is niggas supposed to do, man? That shit don't make no sense.
We just
bro.
say that's just how it's always been. So we don't make up words for it or terms for it. So now you have a frustrated group of white constituents that feel like, oh, we can't say anything. We have to do this. We have to do that. So you don't be deemed as that. Well, if you wasn't that in the beginning to start with, there would be no need for the reform or the feelings that you have. You can't say anything about because you done treated us like shit for so long, and people finally stood up and said, "Hey, you got to stop treating us like shit." Now that you want to feel like things aren't going in the manner that you want them, now we want the right to keep saying those things.
What if your premise is completely flawed? And what I mean by that is, if we're trying to understand it, you said you have power in all those institutions.
Yes.
What if, for example, you have an entire generation of people, young white men, women, who if they apply to a college or apply to a job, they don't have a grant, there's no Pell Grant, there's no type of subsidy, there's no DEI initiative. As a matter of fact, they're likely to be passed over. They hold no institutional power. And when you say black people haven't done anything, when you think of this white person, a young white person, because I'm seeing some people become radicalized and it can become a problem. Yeah. And then they see billions of dollars and riots and damages all summer long, and then they go, why is this happening? Black Lives Matter, right? So they're going to make that connection. Now they have no institutional power, but if they go into a neighborhood that's largely black, they're going to get the shit kicked out of them. And they're being blamed for something that supposedly their racist forefather did that they have nothing to do with. You think we're ever going to have unity? This is the problem. Unity, if let's say your dad's a...
No, it's people like you who walk around claiming black fatigue, bro, but take no accountability to how black people got into that situation. That become racist, like you said, that are becoming racist, bro. That's literally what they were apparently never racist, but they're turning racist because now their stores are getting broken into. Because you was born with a privileged life to own a store. I mean, my grandpa owned a business. He's a plumber. But
or your grandfather's a and you walk up and you slap his teenager, you now have made that person hate you for life. And that's what I'm seeing with not even my generation. Younger people are going, I had nothing to do with this shit. They came up during the riots, they've come up under DEI, and they're seeing a 12-time murder rate, skyrocketing crime, and any proposals they make not holding institutional power shut down as racist.
Now, why was DEI even instituted in the first place? Because for the majority of time that black people have been in this country and been free, we've been denied so much. Somebody somewhere had to put some things in place to provide access of some kind.
If you believe that, that's fine, but you can't tell that young white kid who had nothing to do with it that he should just sit down and take it. Especially when they're getting killed at 12 times.
That's what America's been telling us for the longest.
I don't think white people should just hate theyself, for being white. I think you should you need to understand though, what's facts, what's factual. What's factual is black people came out of slavery with no resources. So if you view them as a thug, as a criminal, that's because it was designed that way. You know what I'm saying? So if you become racist, bro, it's fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Honestly.
Especially when they're getting killed at 12 times.
That's what America's been telling us for the longest.
The young white man that has to
not in my
deal with
lifetime.
DEI, the young person of this generation that you said that feels they're misled by being mistreated by the DEI.
I'm just using it as an example. They don't hold any institutional power. Young white people don't. They don't have an advantage.
Not yet, because they're young white people. They haven't advanced to where.
That's not true. Charlie Kirk is young. He was young. 31. His dad was the architect for Trump Towers. Come on now. You have connections like that, you're in there. Don't play.
Young white people don't. They don't have an advantage.
Not yet.
Don't play. Systemically, that's still there, bro. Because everything is majority white. This country is majority white. Come on now. It was built like that. Come on now.
Because they're young white people. They haven't advanced to where they're middle-aged white people, where the power comes. See, what black people, once again, when you got colleges that denied access to black people, you can't come here. Something had to be put in place. Well, look, y'all got to let some black people come in. Y'all can't just
that started happening long before DEI.
But see, it
is true.
Long before black people were admitted into colleges, HBCUs.
Hold on, let me say what I'm trying to say.
My bad. I'm trying to make it clear.
He's trying to do a senior Wences and talk through you. So that,
because you trying to.
No, I get it.
DEI is just a new way of wrapping affirmative action.
Yeah.
Affirmative action had to be put in place because there was the access being denied. So somewhere, the legislation had to be put in place. Well, look, we can't just exclude all of them. So somewhere along the line, they have to be allowed some access. Okay, that was put in place. Now, fast forward till now, those same things that are put in place for those people back in those generations that are still in place, they're not excluding people from getting to places they're just still trying to keep those doors open so that those black people that were coming through that door can still get in. Because if you remove those, over time, we will be denied the access again.
If a black person has lower SATs, right, and lower GPA, should he get in over an Asian or a white person?
Let me ask
If nigga said or Asian or a white person. You're claiming so black people have low test scores is because of DEI. They can have a lower test score than a white person and a black person and still get the job. That's what he's claiming.
If all things are supposed to be laid out equal, no, you shouldn't get. If you don't,
I think I'm not gonna say DEI is bullshit, because I look at Amazon and they like to let the rainbows in there, and they like to a lot of black people work at Amazon. Amazon is like a slave. I don't even think that's a good example, but I think DEI to a point can be bullshit. You know, because at the end of the day, they still gonna pick who they want. But on roster, if they have a DEI program, they're gonna have to have a percentage. You know, so but to a point, it is still bullshit though. Because they doing what they want to do, regardless.
Have it.
That's what's happening.
What it takes to get in. No, but
it is happening, and I'm telling you, young white dudes are pissed. I'm telling you.
That's not the majority of what's happening.
It is happening.
It is happening. Relates to DEI, first of all. DEI has been more beneficial. I'm a former commercial contractor, all right? DEI and affirmative action have benefited white people vastly more so than black people. All you gotta do is look at the business ownership or what have you, and you notice that as long as that white female happens to be 51%, then she qualifies as a minority and a double minority because she's white, she's among the minority in business ownership, and she happens to be a female, right? So you look at that based on population dynamics, and that automatically tells you this whole thing about DEI was number one, not as much targeted towards blacks as much as it was targeted towards minorities, which includes that LGBT,
I agree.
Right?
Yeah,
so when we talk about that, we need to really deal with the real problem. And as it relates to the riots, let me tell you something right now. Listen, in the black community, I'll be the first to acknowledge, we do have intractable problems that are not going to be solved in one conversation. But what I'm going to say about that, as well as the reason why the black community becomes so infuriated, all right, is when you see gross negligence of justice happen or misjustice happening and nobody does anything. When this guy kneeled on this man's neck, was going back to George Floyd, look, if he had done something, when he was subdued and on the ground, what was the real reason for kneeling on his neck except to inflict fatal harm? What was it?
I can tell you exactly what it was, and I can tell you why you're not recognizing the problem. Because the opinion polls, and I'm not saying right or wrong, the opinion polls have changed on George Floyd since I last spoke with you. You know why?
Why?
All the body cam footage came out. You know what? You know why? Because he was there for 12, 15 minutes, asked to be put in the car, they put him in the car, asked for air conditioning, gave him air conditioning, asked to be taken out of the car, they took him out of the car. He wouldn't stop moving. People have watched it now and go, you know what? It's not what I thought it was. You know how many times he was arrested before that? 9.
We might have to react to it.
You know what would have saved him? 3-strike policy. He robbed a woman at gunpoint with a child in the house. And so white people look at it, young white people, right, who you have to understand during COVID, this is a whole generation of
white people though.
White people did not have any fucking opportunities during COVID. They didn't get to go to the graduation, college, black, white, all of them, right? It's a generation that's pissed. Rightfully so, they got screwed. I think we can agree on that. They're going, I watched my city burn down for a guy who was arrested 9 times and committed violent crimes against women. What?
Now, you know, let me
say
this. How
many felonies does President Trump have on his record? Yet he was still allowed to occupy the most.
No criminal felonies.
He has no criminal felonies, but he's got moral felonies, which would, if there was a court of justice for that, he probably would be tried a long time ago. I mean, let's talk about it.
Is this where we all get on board with crazy white bitches who accuse women of rape?
No,
like, I thought we find she accused 20.
Let me go back. Let me go back.
Now, you know, let me say
that's a travesty of justice. He shouldn't be out in public.
Let me say this.
How many felonies does President Trump have on his record? Yet he was still allowed to occupy the most.
No criminal felonies.
He has no criminal felonies, but he's got moral felonies, which would, if there was a court of justice for that, he probably would be tried a long time ago. I mean, let's talk about it.
Is this where we all get on board with crazy white bitches who accuse women of rape?
No,
like, I thought we find she accused 26 men of rape. That crazy broad.
Here's the reality, though. And when you look at the convergence of this new agenda, where you're going strictly into blue cities, why is it that most of those blue cities also happen to be occupied? The areas they're going in are heavily occupied by minorities. Why is that so?
Well, black people tend to vote Democrat, and they're run by Democrats. Detroit, you can look at it. You can look at Chicago. Is that what you mean?
I mean, no, that's not what I'm asking you at all. What I'm asking you is, like I said, with this all-out assault right now, just last night they were talking about something in Chicago, right? Where 1 o'clock in the morning, you had people in military gear, where have you, helicopters and all this kind of stuff like this here, not just knocking doors down, but dragging people out.
Because it's the murder capital of the country. You just said black people are more harmed by this. We don't want to take out murderers?
No. I think really what truly was you confusing what I'm trying to say to you.
Are you talking about the National Guard in Chicago?
No, what I'm trying to say to you is this, though. If we're going to talk about the problem, let's talk about the problem in its totality. The fact about it is, when you talk about white America being pissed, white America is going to always find a reason that doesn't fit their narrative or what have you. But what white America fails to talk about, and what never ceases to amaze me, is the fact that the biggest threat is not going to come from blacks. The biggest threat is coming from within. You look at the average person that's been committing some of the most heinous crimes over the days, it's 22 to 29-year-old white males, right? Look at how ready they were.
It's just not true, man. Violent crime. You just said, like you said, a small percentage of the country.
Just smoke Charlie Kirk, all these mass shootings,
nigga. Of violent crime, but the murder, a 12 times likelihood.
That's excuse.
If you just, so you don't listen to them,
bro.
No, I said that.
So one, we proved that wrong in this video, bro. And then he's talking about, bro. He talking about all these mass shootings. Charlie Kirk just got shot. They just shot up the Catholic school. White dude and ran his car into a goddamn church and shot up like 4 people. Shot the whole church up. I think it was another mass shooting in Texas. South Carolina. I don't even know. It's crazy. And who's the suspect in those though? Who's the usual suspect in an assassination? Wouldn't that be the most craziest murder of them all, my nigga? I mean, okay, we could definitely argue some things is crazy, but you know that's up there with one of the most premeditative type of planned out, orchestrated. You know what I'm saying?
12 times likelihood.
That's excuse.
If you just, so you don't listen to them?
No, I said that particular stat is skewed.
It's not skewed. These are from the FBI, DOJ. And you know what else we look at? We look at Roland Fryer from Harvard, who conducted black professor, really respectable guy, honorable man, conducted a study, and he came out and he said, yeah, all of my research says that black men are 0% more likely to be shot by police officers than whites. Black people got so mad at him, he reconducted the study, a black man from Harvard, and he came to the same conclusion, and now he's not black enough.
Wait, so let me see if I understand you clearly.
Yeah.
You're saying, according to this guy's statistics, right, that black people are 0% less likely to be shot by a white police officer.
A liberal professor at Harvard, yes, and he conducted it twice. Because black people said what you're saying. He goes, look, I was as surprised as you. I was trying to find how much worse it is. My data showed me it's not. He reconducted the study an entire time. Now, he did come to the conclusion that an officer is 18 times more likely to be shot than a black man by an officer. This is a black...
So the cop is 18 times more likely to get shot by a black guy than the cop is shooting a black guy. There's a 0% chance of the cop shooting a black guy. Oh, get the hell out of here.
Black liberal who studies statistics. At what point do you listen to him?
Once again,
I don't believe
that's skewed too.
Institution, and if he comes out and says something of the sort, there's no telling the backlash that he may not get. Listen, there are token blacks in every society. I mean, all you have to do is look back throughout.
And there we
history,
go.
Right?
And Uncle Tom, this guy, like, come on.
No, but here's my thing. Here's my thing, Steve. Right? I'm not alleging that the guy wasn't Uncle Tom, but let's be frankly honest. How many shootings have happened in most recent history that have involved black men that have been unarmed, and you sit here and use that analogy that black men are zero times. Listen, as a totally blind individual, listen, I'm even apprehensive. There was an incident where the police stopped us, and it was my cousin and I. My cousin is a retired military vet or what have you, right? And immediately when we got out of the car, out of fear of possibly being shot, the first thing I did was raise my cane and say, "Officer," I said, "Listen, I am totally blind." Before we get out of hand with this, right? Now, I shouldn't have to react like that. But when you start looking at what's really happening in this country, many times because see, here's the deal. I don't care if you put on a uniform. You can't legislate the heart of a man and his intent, all right? And many times these officers do allow that badge to give them impunity to operate and exercise their racism. Let's be honest here, Steve.
Some of them do. By the way, I just find it funny that when I came up and shook your hand, you didn't tell me you were blind this whole time. I was like, I must have woke you up. You could have said,
I had a feeling
dude,
you
I'm
were blind.
blind. I was like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. This whole thing. You just throw that out there like a fucking cluster bomb. I'm like,
Say he should have waved his cane when you came in.
I feel like an asshole in the middle of the room.
That's what I told you when you said, "Does he sleep behind the glasses?" I was like, "No, he just can't see you."
Hey, look, I thought you was making a joke. I said, "Oh my God, here's this condescending asshole here."
It's okay. He forget he blind sometimes.
I had no idea.
Nah, man, but you know,
I agree. You can't legislate what's in a man's heart.
Yeah.
But you can't throw out everything. You can't go, that stat skewed. That black guy from Harvard who was always a liberal who did it twice, it's skewed. You can't throw it out.
How often do you see black police killing unarmed white people?
Actually,
how often do you see that? How often do you see that?
React to the video on More TYP Cam. Y'all go subscribe to that channel, turn on notifications. Where a police officer pulled a gun on a white dude at a gas station because he thought the gas pump was a gun and he was waving it in the air. but dude definitely looked like he could have been like he definitely profiled a dude. He had tattoos all on him. He looked like he could have, I don't know, been a thug or something, you know.
Actually,
how often do you see that? How often do you see that?
Well, I tell you, actually, the stats show that when you're dealing with armed white people versus black armed people, white armed people are more likely to be shot by the cops than black.
I don't know. We're all going. Nobody's actually pulling nothing up, and I'm not gonna keep doing that all video. You know. I just don't think that's true though.
Black armed people, white armed.
Because, bro, I can let you know now, bro. Just in my experience with the police, bro. If you let them know you even got a legal gun, bro. Like, look, okay, so I got pulled over, right? I was driving a Grand Marquis, right? And I had just wrecked it, so one of the headlights was busted out. And so the cop had pulled me over. I was in the middle of moving out my crib back into my mama's shit because my lease was up and shit. So I was in process of moving and shit. And so I had a BB gun in the back seat, right? The cop, you know, he
It was nighttime. He take his flashlight. You know how they do. They always, it's a Marquise, you know. So he already know he was pulling that shit over, and he seen the headlight too. So he on that shit. He on ass, nigga. He already profiling off the Marquise, nigga. So he get to looking with the flashlight. He look all in the back seat and see I had my BB gun, bro. Y'all know them regular them Daisy BB guns, bro. OG BB guns, bro. They're the fucking generic ass BB gun. Anyway, it had that shit in the back seat. It was kind of like, it was like in the floor though. It had stuff on it though, but he had like seen it. And now this nigga wants to like search I had my actual blick on me though. But now the niggas asking to see the shit. I let him go ahead and do it because I ain't even want him. I shouldn't have let him do it, but I let him go. I let him go ahead and do it because I didn't want it to go any further. I already had my actual blick on me. I said, nah, I ain't got no other guns, none of that. And he ended up letting me go on. You know what I'm saying? But if you let the police even know you have a legal gun, bro, listen, if I told the cop I had my actual gun, he would have wanted to see that and all type of shit, bro. I already know where it would have went. A white person, I told him before he even looked back there, I said, it's just a BB gun shit. That's what it is. He said, can I look back there? Do you mind? I was like, go ahead. I ain't got nothing to hide. You know what I'm saying? I just got off work. I had my Amazon shit on. You know what I'm saying? So he knew I wasn't lying. But the nigga still want. If I told the nigga I had my actual, bro, we would have been sitting there. The nigga probably would have been trying to search the whole car, bro. And I would have not wanted to go for none of that. You know what I'm saying? So even if you legal, that's the extent they're gonna want to check the serial number. They're gonna take that extent if you're black. If you're white, they're probably gonna take your word for it more so than a black. They're gonna go to the extreme for the black person. The white person, they're going to probably let you slide.
People are more likely to be shot by the cops in black.
White armed people are more likely to kill police officers. Look at what happened.
And one time, I got pulled over by the police. This is back when I had my mohawk. I was real young. I was like 21, probably 22. I was going down this back road, right? I was moving. I was going like probably like 55, 60, and like in a 30. Not a 30. It was probably a 40 or something. I don't even know. I was probably going like 15 over. He pulled me over, right? It's a one lane road type shit. So it's like, you know, I'm going this way. The cop is going this way. He in the Charger. We pass each other type shit. He turned around and catch me. First thing he do when he walk up to the window is put his hand on his gun. And you know, I can see how that could just be like normal reflex or whatever, you know what I'm saying? This is what you do. But it kind of like shocked me at first. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, what you doing? Why the first thing you did, you put your hand on your gun? Like that, like he didn't even ask me no questions. He's walking up to the window and he just puts his hand on his gun before he even asked me anything. And so I started getting a tweak on him. I'm like, what you doing? And he ended up letting me go, and he didn't even give me no ticket for that because he was like, man, I ain't doing nothing. He's like, oh, hold on. You know what I'm saying? It's like I kind of like shook him on that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And so it made him think twice about even giving me that ticket for real. Oh, God, though. You know what I'm saying?
The cops in black.
White armed people are more likely to kill police.
Now, I already told y'all about that time I got pulled over. It was dark time. It was nighttime, and ain't no way he even seen me in the car though. I don't think. But we was at the same stoplight, right? I think this was last time I got pulled over. We was at the same stoplight. He was at the other side though, and I was turning right. And I got to the light. I seen the cop there, so I was gonna fuck around, wait for it to like turn, but I didn't want nothing to be suspicious. So I just paused and I went because it didn't turn green. Or what the fuck? I was trying to let the cop go first before me type shit. You know what I'm saying? If I could have. And anyways, I didn't do that. I didn't want to be suspicious and just sit there and wait because I was turning right on a red. And it was no cars going or nothing like that. So I could have went. And so I didn't want that to be suspicious. Knowing damn well I'm going to get something to eat. I just got out of work. You know what I'm saying? Going to get something to eat, nigga. and the cop pulled me over. He ended up getting behind me and riding probably 2-3 miles down the road until I finally hit my brakes and pulled me over and say my brake light is out. He says it's out. Come to find out, my brake light wasn't even out. It was slightly dimmer. It wasn't even that noticeable. It was not even that noticeable. The nigga pulled me over, gave me a ticket, and said, not a ticket, he gave me a warning and said that my tail light was out. And then cause when he pulled me over, I got to looking at him crazy. I'm like, bro, what are you pulling me over for, bro? He asked me if I needed to go to the hospital because of how crazy I was looking at his ass. He was like, do you need to go to the hospital? It's like, nah, it was a highway patrol too, bro. I was like, no, why are you pulling me over? Don't understand. And I didn't get out to check the tail light, the brake light. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get out to check it when he pulled me over. I should have done that. Because then I could have got on his ass and be like, bro, this shit is not even out. That shit's slightly dimmer. Fuck is you talking about? You pull me over for this shit? You do all that though, man, it's they world once you get pulled over by the police, bro. Every time I get pulled over, I get shook, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Cause you never know what might happen. This might be your last day on earth. You might go to jail. Might just be some bullshit, bro.
Police officers, look at what happened in Kansas, where those 5 police
Let's call the stats on that. Here's what I do know. Everyone wanted the body cam footage, and I agree. I was like, we should have body cam footage. We should have accountability for police officers, right? And we were to believe
body cam footage should always be on. It should never be they get to turn it on and off.
After the era of, remember, we went through Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Mike Brown, obviously George Floyd. There were so many that you could use as examples. We thought that we'd have a rash of body cam footage showing us the police brutality. You haven't seen body cam footage of note in the last year. Once that footage came out, it's about a 20-to-1 ratio where you see someone getting violent with an officer. We have not seen what we thought we would see. And now people are going, okay, so maybe not the body cam footage, right? We thought we'd see all the abuse.
Wait a minute. Before you jump off of that point, what about the body cam footage where we see white people and white police and the white citizen is being belligerent with the police, but the police showing extreme restraint in dealing with that person. Whereas black people, we reach for your wallet, bow, you get shot. I got a phone in my hand, bow, you get shot. And that's not doing anything, bow, you get shot.
The stats don't reflect it, but white people are being killed in record numbers right now, and they're pissed. And if you keep just not listening to them, look, like you said, white people in the majority of this country, you have young white people who are getting more and more mad. I'm just telling you the truth.
What they mad?
And they have the guns. They're mad because this thing. Here's why. Here's why. They go, look, I'm 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person than you are a white person. And you go, well, that doesn't count. They go, look, my dad's business got burned down.
Yeah.
My city got burned down. I've been accused of being a racist, even though I'm not. And I'm looking at this.
That was one little error, bro, of George Floyd, bro. Niggas in Atlanta was looting Lenox Mall, nigga. Give a fuck about y'all. Don't give a fuck about y'all white people. Yo, you ever talk about complaining about when George Floyd then died by getting a knee on his damn neck? Yeah, fuck your white business at that point, honestly, shit.
Now, and I'm not allowed to have an opinion, and I can't go into certain neighborhoods because I get my ass kicked, and then you just say, yeah, but you've had systemic power. That is a surefire way to breed racism.
Let's be frank about that, Steve. Now, first of all, here's why I disagree with you emphatically, right? Number one, when it is historically proven when there are riots, and this is the crazy part, most times we as blacks, we tend to riot in our own neighborhood for the same reason why we're not 12 times likely to kill a white person, because of that fact that the penalty is going to be much harsh, okay? If black people really were the kind of threat and menace to white people as we're going to sit here and say that they are, never mind the stats, there's no way in the world that most of us would still be here, because guess what? You guys will find a way to deal with the problem if it is from a multiplicity of angles, all right? So, like I say, when I'm saying this right now, when it comes to stats,
deal with it.
Who controls that narrative, Steve?
We did deal with it. You know what we dealt with it in liberals in blue cities? Cashless bail, catch and release. We did everything that was demanded. Defunded the police in certain neighborhoods. Guess what?
No blacks ever asked for defunding the police officers. Well, here's the deal.
Now I will say it's mostly. That's what I'm saying. It's mostly black women. It's mostly black activist women, and they're not representative of black men. I get.
I ain't gonna lie, defunding the police, like that type of like, some stuff is ignorant, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No, Just like the guy who killed the lady on the bus that you were talking about earlier, right? He doesn't represent Black America and what he did. I mean, listen.
Here's where he does. Just listen to me here. Here's where he does. Here's where he does to a lot of people. And this is what I'm just trying to, because last time I sat and listened, but I want you to hear something really important. Here's where he does. Young white, that person's parents, that person's relatives, look at it and go, wait a second. This guy was out 14 times, and the reason he was out 14 times was because a black female judge, in the name of restorative justice, who has received funding from NGOs, said, we're going to have cashless bail and catch and release and the IOU policy in the name of racial justice. So people are going, my daughter's dead because it would have been racist to keep this guy in jail. You need to understand that, right? You understand?
That is crazy. I think that whole situation is crazy, you know. Yeah.
But you understand it though, right? Because you just made those same judgments about people who existed 150 years ago.
Yeah.
This is someone's sister.
Her flawed judgment does not represent the opinion of Black people, number one. There you go.
Okay, it represents a systemic correction.
Well, let's talk about systemic correction. And you know what the problem really is? When you defund opportunities to provide adequate psychiatric institutionalization for those kind of people, that wouldn't have happened. Because let me tell you something, even as a Black person, as a judge, if you come before me 11 times with all of the information that you provided me with, you know what, before I release you, you know what, I'm going to have you committed to an institution, because number one, the greater good is for me to preserve public integrity, and that's on both sides of the spectrum. I don't
that judge is flawed, bro.
give a damn if you Black or white.
Why do you think?
Yeah, dude from Canada worried about Black America. He moved here and started worrying about Black folks.
They're not committing him to an institution.
The Canadian moved to America. He's worried about Black folks.
They were shut down in the name of restorative racial justice.
And his
that's why he wasn't institutionalized.
And his family.
Nah, that's a valid point, you know, and the white man got a valid point on that, if that's true, you know, and I'm not gonna ignore that, you know. I think that's why I say I think that whole situation is just fucked, you know.
Against it too. His family pushed against it in certain like they were. There's some of them cases where they were in court. His family was saying, "Don't put him in there."
I know, and who gives a shit?
But I'm just saying that's part of it. But when you only include the part that says the judge, you're not giving the whole story, and that's what media ends up doing. That creates these tensions in people. They straw man's conversations and only tell part of it.
No, it's not as strong. The tension is there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The tension is already there. White people are afraid to go in Black neighborhoods because
so should Black people be afraid to go to school because a white person go come shoot the school up? Because every time we see it happen, that's what keeps happening.
It's not even close.
Church.
It's not even close. I would say white people are scared to go to Black neighborhoods. Some of them, you know. That's the setup that they created though. Over history, you know, y'all are the descendants, you know, we are all descendants, you know, whether you like it or not, you know, the people before you created your reality today, and that's just the reality.
You're going to ignore that.
I'm scared to go to church.
You're scared to go to church, but you're sitting in the barber shop with almost 12 Black men. Come on, Steve. Now let's be realistic.
Nigga said he's scared to go to a Black church, but he's sitting in a barber shop.
More at risk sitting down right
exactly.
here.
He know he's not in danger around us.
I'm much more risk.
We don't do that.
And here's the irony.
You know, I just watched my.
He's scared to go to a Black church. Yo, come on, man. What? I ain't never heard of a Black church get shot up. I'm not gonna say it ain't never happened, but I've heard of plenty of white churches get shot up. One of them just happened.
Watch my friend die, right?
Steve, let me say this.
Nigga said he's scared to go to a Black church, man. Nah, Black church is some of the best church, bro. Black church is by far better than a white church. Any white church that I've went to, it's always been about having fun. It's always been about having fun.
Exactly. He know he's not in danger around us.
I'm much more risk.
We don't do that.
And here's the irony.
You know, I just watched my friend die, right?
Steve, let me say this. Know what
Charlie
bothers
Kirk
me about white people, and this is kind of
everything.
Charlie Kirk's his friend.
But we smell like wet dog or something. I've heard all this stuff.
Let me tell you what bothers me about white people. Let's be honest here, because I work with a lot of white people. people, so I have nothing against them at all. Let me be honest with you. But the problem that the biggest problem that I have is that you constantly get bombarded with the excuses, all right? When you really come down to it, let's be honest, man, and let's be really truthful with one another. Ask yourself, what do you expect when you look at architectural oppression, economic depravity, and social disparity? What would you call it? I mean,
bad decisions.
Huh?
Bad decisions.
Bad decisions.
Yeah, I think right now in 2025, it's bad decisions. I think everyone can make better decisions.
And you know what? I'll even go.
Nigga, what? He asked you, what do you feel about oppression? Nigga, make better decisions. Yeah, but
what would you call it? Ask yourself, what do you expect when you look at architectural oppression?
What do you expect? So this is kind of what I've been saying.
Economic depravity and social disparity. What would you call it?
Bad decisions.
Huh?
He says it's bad decisions. You're damn right. You damn right. It's a bad decision.
What do you expect when you look at architectural oppression, economic depravity, and social disparity? What would you call it?
Bad decisions.
Huh?
Yeah, Charlie Kirk was actually his
right now in
friend.
2025, it's bad decisions. I think everyone can make better decisions.
And you know what? I'll even go here with you. In all fairness, I think that's absolutely true. So my question for you is, how do we move past this?
Yeah. Okay.
How do we move past
I agree with you.
Yeah, how do we get past it?
And I think maybe we'll find some common ground here. If we agree there is personal accountability and bad decisions, and I think we also all agree that feminist white guys are the worst demographic in the country, along with lesbians.
There's a great book that says that they were her problem.
Black people need to be accountable. White people throughout history have never been accountable. But they're gonna say, oh, us ending slavery and us doing this and us doing that is being accountable. No, being accountable is how you view black people today and what are you gonna do to help. Why is it that black people can't have a black card? The Indians, they get to have an Indian card and they get to have Indian benefits. Why can't black people get the same thing? I don't understand that. I'm from Oklahoma. The Indians out here, they get benefits, bro. You can get an Indian home. Your kids can go get Indian school supplies, free school supplies, like. It's all type of benefits for Indians.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Like I'm telling you, like believe me, I don't have a. Hold on. Let me just clarify, and I mean that. Angry white feminist bitches and lesbians, because if they didn't vote, we wouldn't have half of the shit. But. And this is one thing I appreciate about black men, that white men are so black men can talk about these things, and black men are okay being masculine. White men are told it's sexist. There's a lot there. Personal accountability decisions. Now, just take that and apply it. What you kind of just did here is you blamed white people, without realizing it, for systemic discrimination, and that removes autonomy from a white person to be accountable and also rewarded for their good decisions. So if we agree it's bad decisions, personal accountability, we'd all be against reparations. And we'd all be against the criminal justice reform.
I'm definitely for reparations.
That's to me, you said excuse.
Nigga, this don't make no sense, bro. I'm hold on.
Now just take that and apply it. What you kind of just did here is you blamed white people, without realizing it,
nigga said you
for
blamed
systemic
white
discrimination,
people.
and that removes
nigga, that's what happened.
Autonomy.
Systemic racism, bro, came when black people became U.S. citizens. Because y'all was racist. Black people were not humans. It doesn't make sense.
Without realizing it, for systemic discrimination, and that removes
systemic racism, oppression, all that shit came when black people joined the U.S. nation, the United States government, and became citizens.
Autonomy from a white person to be accountable and also rewarded for their good decisions. So if we agree it's bad decisions, personal accountability, we'd all be against reparations, and we'd all be against the criminal justice reform,
I'm definitely for reparations.
I'm for
reparations.
So Mark,
See, that to me,
yeah.
you said excuse.
Yeah.
That sounds like an excuse to me.
You ain't paid me back. You ain't paid me for what you owe me.
What did I take from you?
You can't.
Nigga said, "What did I take from you?" Sounds like Charlie Kirk, bro. It's what the system took. It's what the system is your people, bro. Come on now, the system need to cough that up, man. That's just the reality, bro.
It's bad decisions, personal accountability. We'd all be against reparations, and we'd all be against the criminal justice reform.
I'm definitely for reparations.
I'm for reparations.
So Mark,
See, that to me, you said excuse. That sounds like an excuse to me.
You ain't paid me back. You ain't paid me for what you owe me.
What did I take from you?
You can't start another bill
What did I take from
until
you?
you pay this old bill.
What did I take from you?
You didn't take but your ancestors.
But you just said you.
When I say you, I meant it as a euphemism.
But can you understand why white people hear it and get pissed off?
Yeah.
Because I can take shit.
But they're not mad about the advantages that will build.
No, if white people had accountability for that, they would understand that's your taxes would go to that. You already pay taxes. You're gonna be stuck paying 30%. It doesn't matter what the fuck they do with it. A portion of that can go to reparations, nigga.
Into their life.
Federal income tax, it needs to come out.
So you want young people to pay? Sounds like an excuse.
Nobody wants to address. And
Sounds like an excuse.
even without paying us back, Steve. No, my thoughts are on.
I like these black folks for standing for how they feel though. You know, they may not have all the words to articulate themselves like me. You know what I'm saying? But they standing for how they feel, bro, and I fuck with it. You know, the white man is coming in here with his narrative, and that's what they do. They come with their narratives.
And even without paying us back, Steve. No, my thoughts are on this here. Give us an opportunity to exercise our ability and our autonomy. Let me give you a perfect example. There's a gal right now. Her name is Joy Reid. Look up her.
I know Joy Reid. She's out of her mind.
Look up her educational background. You don't think Harvard gave her a degree just because she was a black person or DEI, do you?
I think she's an idiot.
Okay, so
but not because she's black, but she's an idiot.
Okay, so you're entitled to that.
I think Van Jones is smart, and I didisagree with him. Joy Reid has said things that are so verifiably untrue. It's insane.
Okay, so but you know, as a man, I'm going to indulge you and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to indulge you. I'm going to respect your opinion, your frame of thought on that, right? I beg to differ tremendously, but nevertheless, though, that's why we're having this open discussion. But let's really talk about where we need to go from here on, and that is the fact that black people have every sense of entitlement as it relates to having reparations. And I'm going to tell you why, right? Because nobody has ever been as more loyal to white people despite the treatment than black people have.
Man. And that's the fucking problem, bro. But what the fuck can you do when you're 13%, bro? That's why and the reason why they don't come with reparations, bro, is because that will empower black people, bro. They don't fucking want that. That's why you had to become a US citizen, bro. They don't want that shit, man.
Having reparations, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? Because nobody has ever been as more loyal to white people.
That's the fucking problem, man. It's always been, man. We just want to be equal. We just want to be equal. We just want to be equal. At no point, and still to this day, at no point can we say fuck you and do our own fucking thing. We tried doing that in the system, and look what they done. look at Tulsa.
Because nobody has ever been as more loyal to white people despite the treatment than black people have, right? Nobody. You show me one race. You know what? They make options and opportunities available when other ethnicities come here or what have you that we will never get a chance to have, right? And then
nigga got on his phone. Look, he must be looking up something.
Turn around and tell us stop asking about reparations. Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness.
What are you gonna say about loyalty to white people, huh?
It's a problem. So white America.
So it spends several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
Wait, spend $7 trillion.
When is it enough? Oh my God! It's not even your money. It's not even like you're gonna keep paying 30%, 20%, 40% tax, bro. That's never changing. I mean, it could change. It can go up or it can go down. It's gonna stay in there. It's gonna stay around at 30%. 20 to 30 probably. Trump, they making all these cuts. You know what I'm saying? The money will spend a couple of $1 trillion when is enough. Look at this motherfucker, bro. But so white people need to stop being victims, but you don't want to give reparations. You have such a problem with black people receiving reparations. That shit is weird, bro.
What have you, that we will never get a chance to have, right? And then they turn around and tell us, stop asking about reparations. Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness, it's a problem. So white America.
So it spends several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
Wait, spend $7 trillion on what? What did they spend it on?
Let's go back to Lyndon Johnson model.
Lyndon Johnson, you're talking about the wrong property? Is that
what we're talking about? That as if it's already been spent.
Why was that done?
All right, but here's the deal.
What about the Department of Education?
Here's the deal. So now you're
Department of Education. Yeah, look at America's financial literacy. Look at the car payments these people have. Look at Carmart stock. Look at these car dealerships, these car lots that can't sell a single car. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. I tell you something about the market. Tell you something about the
Lyndon Johnson model.
Lyndon Johnson, you're talking about the wrong property? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. 1965.
Why was that done?
All right, but here's the deal.
What about the Department of Education?
Here's the deal. So now you're saying the Department of Education. Let's go back to the Department of Education.
Okay, so my point is, these were. Hold on. No, I didn't answer your question.
All right.
The reason that this was given, right, when you're talking about the Great Society program, the reason when you look at the Model Cities program, urban planning, $8 billion into Detroit, adjusted for inflation, the reason that, and I don't know if you know this, black students in this country get more spending per pupil than white students. I don't know if you know that. That's an actual fact. Even in impoverished neighborhoods through public funding.
As they fucking should, because they was not able to read or write for so long. Y'all gate kept information, this, that, and the third. So black people throughout time is you know what I'm saying, is less educated. So yeah, there should be more budget for black folks. I agree. Yeah, I love it.
In Detroit,
because why am I from Oklahoma? Now there was a people that had commented on my video when I said this before and said that they was from I forgot where they said they was from. I think somebody from Lawton might have said that they was taught about Black Wall Street or Bixby or something like that. I can't remember. But the school that I went to, they did not teach us jack shit about no Black Wall Street, and I'm from here. So what are you saying?
Hold on. No, I didn't answer your question.
All right.
The reason that this was given, right, when you're talking about the Great Society program, the reason when you look at the Model Cities program, urban planning, $8 billion into Detroit, adjusted for inflation, the reason that, and I don't know if you know this, black students in this country get more spending per pupil than white students. I don't know if you know that. That's an actual fact. Even in impoverished neighborhoods through public funding. These were the reparations that were asked of white people throughout each decade, given, and then we're told, no, that's not the real one. They were given, whether you like them or not, whether you think they work or not. And by the way,
it's not reparations. Y'all trying to do systemic shit that's not even working though. Cause why I didn't learn nothing about Black Wall Street, huh? It's not working.
think they're dog shit. I think we should completely suspend the Federal Department of Education. I think the Texas state could do a much better job. But those were done in the name of racial reparations because they were demanded,
Steve,
and now it's not enough.
Listen, you say that, but Steve, listen.
What was
you
that?
say we should suspend the Department of
I agree with you, because it's so. Why would they
But
do it
it's not
correctly?
because it's not just because it was done in the name of racial justice that it was done incorrectly.
That's the reason for it.
I'm saying that's the reason for it. But along the way of trying to achieve racial justice, you just did it wrong.
But let me ask you,
That's my point.
You say
People did it the way we were
Your
asked.
reasoning was right. Your approach was wrong.
So now you make some 20-year-old kid pay?
No, but you came out and said something that was just
Yes,
now.
Make some
yeah.
20-year-old kid pay. Yeah. 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 How do the Indians get money? Now they be owning the casinos and shit. You know. I don't know how that works. Let me not speak on it. But man, it's not that big of a deal, bro.
You said that you're against the Department of Education, right? Let me tell you
Federal
something.
Department.
Yeah, Federal Department of Education. Let me tell you something that has come up in a lot of circles that I'm always talking about as a person with a disability. The Department of Education does a lot more in terms of, even with the enforcement of Section 504, right? 504 says that you must have accommodations for individuals with disabilities, right? Perfect example of it, when you walked in or someone just walked in, did you hear what that thing said? Right, left. Go down to Austin. Let me tell you something. When you suspend the Department of Education, you're also telling the remain 36 million people in this country who have disabilities, you know what? Screw you, figure it out. We don't have to do anything, okay? And this is another reason, going back to what we said with the Black America. If you don't have certain mechanisms in place to ensure that there is a fair and level playing field, right? Guess what? The controlling party that's in power, or what have you, are not going to say, hey, wait a minute, let's look at this other disenfranchised segment of the community or what have you, and see how can we provide
I'll disabuse you of that notion. Okay, let me disabuse you of that notion.
Go ahead.
Over $3 trillion adjusted for inflation, right? The Department of Education, early 70s. Okay, before that they were run by states. Over $3 trillion. What are math scores? What are literacy scores now? In both?
Depends on what part of the country you're asking that about.
Across the board. Across the board.
You can't go there because I'm going to tell you why you can't go there.
No, hold on. I'll answer the question. Because then I'll show you an example of something that actually works, because we need solutions. They're across the board down. In other words, $3 trillion, test scores are worse. And they're even worse in poor areas.
Yeah, that doesn't mean defund it. That means fix the problem. That means fix the fucking problem.
Where there's more spending. Do you know where black students in New York City actually do really well? White Catholic schools, where they have more students per teacher, on average 35 plus. In other words, they have fewer teachers. It's done privately. Charter schools, school choice is something I support. That means for everyone in this country. Can't do it because it's racist.
Let's look at the academia, though, okay?
That's why it's being fought.
When you start talking about that, what have you, when you talk about test scores, we can go just north versus south or what have you. Let's look at the quality of education that's in these schools or what have you. Are you going to tell me that it's a standardized academic agenda that's promoted throughout this country? Or is it a fact that some people have a different education level than black? Listen, I work with people.
They're bad across the board.
I work with people every day that are out the north that have far excelled in
that's absolutely true.
Than we have.
I would argue that some schools, some areas probably do have a better educational system, for sure. Oklahoma is dog shit. I know that.
Bad and worse.
We're literally like second to last or last. Like we're the last five. You know what I'm saying? Worst five.
Right.
So
there's no good. There's shit in here. And what I'm saying is, here's something where we could find common. I've proposed this, many people have, where we go, look, instead of giving money to a school, like you say, some of these schools suck, right? Instead of just putting, let's say the average spending is $15,000 per student. That's a rounded number. It's anywhere from 13 to 50, okay? If instead of putting that money in the administrative costs at a school, what you do is you say, okay, that's a grant, that's a voucher that attaches to the student, and they can take it to any school they want, so they have to compete. So that kid can now choose where they go to school. Can't do it because it's racist. That's why it's been fought. People say black kids would still be stuck in shit schools than white kids.
Why?
Well, see, that comes back.
What is he saying?
This thing is, look, and what I'm saying is, here's something where we could find common. I've proposed this, many people have, where we go, look, instead of giving money to a school, like you say, some of these schools suck, right? Instead of just putting, let's say the average spending is $15,000 per student. That's
so he's saying go to a private school, give the money to a kid so they can go to a private school to get a better education.
Rounded number. It's anywhere from 13 to 50, okay? If instead of putting that money in the administrative costs at a school, what you do is you say, okay, that's a grant, that's a voucher that attaches to the student, and they can take it to any school they want. So they have.
So what you're doing is you're making for-profit schools more profitable, and all that's gonna do is drive the price of that tuition up, and then those public schools remain unfunded and are not getting any better, and the kids at those schools are getting dumber. Is what will fucking happen. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Let me know.
If instead of putting that money in the administrative costs at a school, what you do is you say, okay, that's a grant, that's a voucher that attaches to the student, and they can take it to any school they want, so they have to compete. So that kid can now choose where they go to school. Can't do it because it's racist. That's why it's been fought. People say black kids would still be stuck in shit schools than white kids.
Why?
Well, see, that comes
because they wouldn't be able to transport themselves out of a bad neighborhood. But right now they're stuck with one school.
So when you start asking those whys and go down the rabbit hole of why and start asking, okay, well, why would somebody say that? Well, this is why.
Well, I'll tell you why they really say it. Because of teachers unions.
Because of teachers unions?
Yeah. It doesn't make. In other words, if a black kid right now has to go to
because in certain communities where they don't have certain resources, it's a lot of kids. Once again, I've raised my kids, graduated 3 kids from. I've been afforded some things in this community that some people down south don't have.
Yeah,
right.
That's a fact.
And some of these school events, I'm questioning them like, how the hell y'all expect us to have jobs and still transport these kids to and from these events all throughout the day? But if them people down there had to do it,
so you think what we're doing now is better?
Because they ain't got transportation. Half of them ain't got transportation.
I think we need to go back to the real truth and the real truth.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because they're in impoverished areas, and we already know based on how we see.
So then how do we fix it? We have to pay for.
If you go to a private school, yeah, transportation is gonna be a big thing, but it's not. They don't have. You don't have to live in a certain district to go to a private school, bro. So that kid that's in that neighborhood, they can go to that school. If that's the case, that's not race. That has nothing to do with race. You know what I'm saying? That kid can go to that school. You know, it's just getting there because, you know, the bus route it's just a weird thing with they bus routes and shit. How that might be said. There's never no telling. You know, but.
Don't even have grocery stores.
No, of course not.
Those same areas
that's horse shit. I see everyone here has a smartphone. You can literally order any food that's ever existed on Earth to any municipality cheaper than ever.
If you're in an area that already has a lack of resources and you're already low income, how you gonna order something?
Amazon one click.
But see, here's the deal.
Yeah, and wait 3 days. Nigga said Amazon one click. Yeah, you have the privilege of paying that extra money. For one, shit's already marked up high, and then you gotta pay that delivery fee, or you gotta have Prime, this, that, and the third. Literally, bro, there's not a single. I ain't gonna say a single Walmart, but you go north Peoria, up into Turley, all the way to Lewis, MLK, I'm not sure too much northeast, you know, going, what is that, fucking Mingo, yeah, all that shit going east, Sheridan, all that. I don't know if there's a Walmart, but I know that northwest shit, all that area, Peoria, ain't no Walmart in who knows how long. You know, it might be a warehouse market, it might be a little grocery store here and there. Ain't no Walmart. You get a lacquer, but you go south. There's plenty of Walmarts. You know, it's more resources.
We're talking about food deserts in 2025. Come on.
And because it's still in the same town, who wants to drive 30 minutes all the way across town? Nobody's doing that. It needs to be. You need something on your side of town. There's not nothing on that side of town. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no Walmart.
I think there's a broader problem that we were not discussing. You know what that is? You've got to go all the way back. This has been an insidious process that's been at work. And the bad part about it is, as long as we as white and black America keep fighting among each other, we'll never see the big picture.
I don't think it is no Walmart on the north side. No parts. I'm gonna look.
To 1982 under Charlotte T. Eisenberg, who was the Department of Secretary under Ronald Reagan, Department of Education. She wrote a good expose many years later called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. She kind of patterned that after that B.F. Skinnerian behavioral modification, and it ties all into the founder before the Department of Education, which was General Education Board, where they say, you know what, we don't need more painters, we don't need more artists, or we don't need more poets. We just want...
The most north there's a Walmart is fucking Memorial and Admiral. And that's like kind of by the it's kind of like east, south of the airport. But yeah, the north side, there's no Walmart nowhere on the north side, Tulsa. It's like central Tulsa, south Tulsa. It's no Walmarts. Even West Tulsa, no Walmarts. Hell, they said Oakland ain't even got a Walmart. So
good cogs in a wheel that are easily taught, that we can mold under our own hand. That mantra still holds true today. So you got to look at that. You got to look at where we come from. We come from a nation that was industrious and coupled with innovation to now everybody tends to do things like you say with your smartphone. You know why? Because pictures keep you from looking at things contextually. All right. So when you think about this educational system, you got to go back to what changed in this educational system and why we're where we are. Because you can't just say, yeah, but you can't just simply say that everybody wants to be dumb or everybody in the South.
I didn't say everybody wants to be dumb.
Okay, well, tell you this too. Here's another problem why scores are so much lower in this country, especially when you talk about black America.
Because money doesn't fix a problem. It's that
money doesn't.
We've thrown money at the problem and it doesn't do shit.
Solve the problem at the core root of it and start reforming the real academia. All right, that's where you solve the. So you know what you tell people? We're gonna operate in the system of merit.
The academics, the books, the actual lessons, you know. Cause I guarantee they doing the same copy and paste curriculums that they've been doing, teaching the same history they've been teaching.
Democracy. God damn it, you will eat what you kill. If you're giving you $50,000 to go to school and you decide that you don't want to, or you fail to adhere to what's being presented before you, then shame on you.
I agree. You do away with DEI, you do away with the sex affirmative action, do away with all of it. Eat what you kill.
Do away with DEI, but make it fair across the board.
But that's what I'm saying.
I agree.
If you're gonna do away with DEI, you got to make sure that the merits are properly being counted. Because the reason why DEI was invented, reason why affirmative action was invented, is because you'd have two qualified candidates, same qualifications, but one would get in strictly because his name was Johnny and the other one's name was Jamal. Well, we're gonna take Johnny because naturally Johnny's gonna be better at it, but they got the same qualifications. That's why affirmative action was instituted in the first place.
DEI came in because of shrinking white feminists wanted to claim credit.
That's a snapshot you can present it in, but
I agree with you. I agree.
That's a snapshot you can present it in, but I'm just saying, like, the reason why.
No, what I'm saying is,
you go down to ask why.
I'm being flippant, but the truth is, black people were being admitted in record numbers if they had the same qualifications before DEI and affirmative action. White shrieking feminists wanted to take credit for something that was already happening because people had become less racist, so they can say, tag my white name on there, DEI. See what I did for black people? It's white guilt. And what I'm trying to tell you is, young people who have nothing to do with any of this, their guilt is running out, and you can't escape the violent murder rate. You can't escape them losing opportunities and being blamed for being racist when they're not.
So young people just don't have to face the consequences of before. We're all facing them consequences, man. Black and white.
And you want those kids to pay reparations? You're creating a generation of racists. That's what's going to happen. And
then you're going to have a.
We're not creating
Then you're going to have.
Nobody's gonna look at their tax bill and be like, "Oh my God, this much is going to fucking reparations for them damn." You know what I'm saying? Nobody's looking at the actual amount that they're spending per year in taxes on they motherfucking reparations, nigga. Damn. Maybe they is like Social Security and shit.
We as a black community, we're not creating.
Social Security's a scam. If they can get Social Security, nigga, we can get reparations.
Creating a generation of racists. You know who's creating that generation of racists? Those older white people are feeding that into their kids. See, all white people are not racist. I don't believe that.
No, of course not.
But the ones ones that come from families that have that inherent gene or trait in them, they're passing that on.
How?
See, I look at this. The gentleman that got killed, Charlie. He was killed by a white man, a young white man, right? From the generation that you're talking about that's getting fed up.
Well, he was also banging a
Now his dad had one ideology. He followed another ideology. That's out the same household. He didn't come from nowhere black. He wasn't hanging around with no bunch of black people.
I know, I agree. I'm not saying
that mindset. His daddy put whatever was into him. His dad either put that into him or his rebellion from his father caused him to think like that. That we're not creating that. Black people.
That has nothing to do with them. I agree with you.
You ever seen over in Africa? You see an elephant with a bird riding on his back. That elephant ain't worried about that bird because that bird not stopping him from doing the thing he want to do. We're the bird.
No.
We're the bird. You're not stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The
they
bird just
do.
burned down $4 billion worth of cities and 60,000 assaults.
$4 billion worth of. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, young white kid. No, hold on. You got to listen.
Might get blamed for it.
Right.
The bird is half as big as the elephant.
Steve, you act like it's only blacks that was burning it down.
What about the Black Wall Street?
You know what I said earlier, and you listen is when you have young white person going, okay, why is this happening? And people go, Black Lives Matter, and they go, well, hold on a second, I have an opinion on Black Lives Matter. They go, well, sit down, shut up. Okay, now silence is violence. And that kid goes, well, what do I do? By the way, you're on the hook for reparations, even though his father, his grandfather, his great-great-grandfather didn't own a slave, and he's still 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person the other way around. You're gonna
yeah, but his grandfather and his dad and his dad's dad, the 3 generations ago. Look, okay, my grandpa was born at what, 50? He was born in discrimination times, bro. His dad was born in discrimination times. So, come on now.
What I'm saying is society is going to create a generation of racists. What do you say to that young white kid? What do you say to him?
Stop watching, stay off of TikTok.
Stop reading stats.
Stop paying attention to what these talking heads are saying because they're leading you down the wrong path. They're leading you down a path of paranoia and conspiracy theories.
What if their interactions with black people in general are quite negative?
That's the end.
Well, we're in it now, and we're going to continue next Thursday, October 16th, on the next installment.
Damn, they got a whole nother one? Shit. That was an hour long. My reaction had to have been every bit of 2.5, nigga. Maybe not. I've been live for 3 hours. How long y'all think that was? Good. It was probably about an hour and a half. I don't know. Man, what y'all think about that, man? We finna get up out of here, though. I'm tired. Gotta get up. Maybe, hopefully, I still got my job in the morning. Hit a tree. Nigga done hit a tree. So we gonna see. I feel like I would've known something. I just feel like they gonna play me. They waiting right now because it's peak season. And then after peak, they gonna fuck around, try to home me or something. I don't know. But y'all pray for me, man. The term black fatigue is been taken the wrong way, and white people are playing victim. And are not taking accountability. You know, if all these things are true, look at how we got here, though. It doesn't justify the actions of people, but look at how we got here in a statistical way. You know, y'all let me know what y'all think about that, man.